Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning. Right now at 5, shifting winds threaten to intensify an already historic wildfire season in our state as PG&E prepares for more public safety power shutoffs. We'll tell you which areas could be affected.
A contentious weekend on the streets of Bakersfield with protesters clashing in downtown and a woman arrested for allegedly assaulting a police officer.
A New York Times report of decades of the president's tax return says he paid just $750 the year he won election. We'll hear what President Trump has to say as he prepares for a debate with Joe Biden tomorrow night. This is Monday, September 28th, 2020. Good morning. It's 5 a.m. Good to have you with us. I'm Maddie Jansen.
And I'm Alex Fisher. And this morning, new fires are raging out of control and quickly scorching thousands of acres of land.
This video shows the glass fire burning overnight. You can see how intense those flames are. Right now, communities north of Napa are evacuating as the fire devours homes and other buildings. Thousands of homes are threatened. More than 800 firefighters are battling this intense inferno. This fire is an example of the prime fire conditions that we are seeing across the state. And because of the dangers, utility companies are preparing to shut the power off. But fires that ignited weeks ago during the last heat wave are still burning this morning. The Creek Fire east of Fresno's burned more than 302,000 acres. It's 39% contained. The good news, dozens of evacuation orders have been lifted, including the entire Shaver Lake area.
And the bobcat fire threatening the Angeles National Forest is 65% contained this morning. So far, it's burned more than 114,000 acres. Federal investigators are still looking into what caused the blaze.
And a brush fire broke out last night in Wofford Heights near Lake Isabella. According to Pulse Point, it started near a home on Donalda Court in a neighborhood just off Highway 155 just after 5:30. This is time-lapse imaging from a weather camera in the area. It's still an active fire at this point this morning, and we have a call into Kern County Fire. We'll bring you details as soon as they're available.
And as we mentioned, PG&E plans to shut off power for 15 Kern County homes and businesses starting this morning. That's in order to lower the risk of wildfires. Power will be cut off to those customers at 7 a.m., and it's expected to come back on by the end of the day. That's when experts say winds will die down, leading to a reduced risk of new fires breaking out. PG&E did not specify which part of Kern County would be impacted. The company says it will inspect power lines for damage while the power is off. Other parts of California are also facing public safety power shutoffs. And we're keeping a close eye on the air quality this morning as shifting winds are likely to bring back hazy, smoky skies to Kern County. Most of the unhealthy air is coming from the SQF complex fire as well as the Creek Fire. The valley has seen some clear skies this past week or so, but the Valley Air District warns you should stay indoors as air quality is expected to worsen. And our chief meteorologist, Alyssa Carlson, is talking about our forecast because once again we're dealing with these prime fire conditions, Alyssa, and it is just like we're not out of the woods yet.
Yes, good morning, Alex. That is exactly right. In fact, we've kind of had a break over the weekend, and now here in Kern County, we are going to see the return of the smoke here in the valley areas as we head into today. So we're looking here to the north at a red flag warning, as well as just to the south of us. So conditions will continue with Santa Ana winds to maybe bring in some of that smoke here. So Santa Ana winds will specifically be down to the south of us through the Grapevine, through the LA and Ventura County mountains, and that red flag warning runs through 5 p.m. We still have the air quality alert, though, here in the valley. 70 degrees currently outside, 63 in Tehachapi, 70 in Frazier Park, 66 in Lake Isabella. Right now, you can see a few little areas of haze, but overall our visibility is just fine right now at 10 miles. So here's our forecast, 68 degrees at 7 a.m. and then 97 this afternoon. So yes, back into the upper 90s here in the valley and in the mountains, heating up with those winds out of the north and east. We will be into the lower 80s today. We're going to talk much more about the heat and the smoke in your complete pinpoint forecast.
All right, Alyssa, thanks so much. It is 5:04 now. In national news this morning, the former Kentucky police officer indicted for wanton endangerment in the Breonna Taylor case is due in court today. Former Louisville police detective Brett Hankinson was one of the 3 officers involved in the deadly Breonna Taylor raid in March. Hankinson was fired in June and charged last week with 3 counts of wanton endangerment for blindly firing into neighboring apartments, but not directly for Taylor's death. That ruling sparking protests in Louisville and around the country, as well as here at home. Police in Portland declared an unlawful assembly and worked to disperse crowds over the weekend. Portland police say officers made several arrests during the evening, but the exact number is not clear. And a woman in Bakersfield was arrested after police say she swung a baseball bat at an officer during the protests. The incident happened on Saturday night on Truxton Avenue, away from the main demonstration happening in front of the Bakersfield Police Building. According to police, this woman was vandalizing a wall of the department. They said she hit an officer during her arrest, but the officer was not seriously hurt. BPD says along with the bat, they also found brass knuckles, a hammer, switchblade knife, and spray paint. The woman was booked into Kern County Jail on multiple charges, including aggravated assault on an officer. BPD says that woman was the only one arrested during Saturday's protests. Counter-protesters showed up, but besides shouting and chanting, Bakersfield police and the organizers of the protests mostly kept both sides away from each other until the crowds left BPD and began to march downtown. The protests ended much differently than Friday nights when BPD declared an unlawful assembly to clear out the area. 2 people were arrested during protests on Friday night.
A woman's hospitalized in what officials called critical condition after she was accidentally shot by a toddler. The Kern County Sheriff's Office says around 8:30 yesterday morning, deputies were sent to an apartment complex on Norris Road near Knudsen. When they arrived, they found a woman with a gunshot wound. Authorities rushed her to the hospital. Investigators say a 2-year-old relative found a handgun in the apartment and it accidentally fired it, hitting the woman. The investigation's ongoing. The Sheriff's Office says a man was shot multiple times in Wasco Saturday night. It happened on 16th Street near Gaston Street. Fire responders airlifted the victim to Kern Medical. We've not heard any information about the shooter. If you have information about this case, call KCSO at 861-3110, or to remain anonymous, you can call 322-4040.
Making news around the state this morning, search and recovery efforts are underway after a small plane crashed off the Santa Barbara coast. Officials say a single-engine Cessna 182 Skylane with 1 person on board crashed near Santa Barbara yesterday morning. Several witnesses reported seeing the plane descend rapidly after taking off from Santa Barbara Airport. Search and rescue teams, including the U.S. Coast Guard, were called immediately and called in to search for the plane. Hours later, debris was found about 2 miles off the coast, but no one was found. Governor Gavin Newsom has signed a law requiring the state to house all transgender prison inmates based on their gender identity. The new law requires officials to privately ask inmates if they identify as transgender, non-binary, or intersex. Then inmates can request to be housed in a facility for either men or women. Before this, the state housed transgender inmates based on their biological sex. Advocates say that system placed people at risk, especially transgender women placed in male facilities.
5:08's your time now, and while there's no Kern County Fair this year, you still have a chance to get the Boy Scouts' famous baked potatoes. The Southern Sierra Council is setting up several booths around town to make the savory treats available to the public. Locations include Heidi's Deli on Callaway Drive and the Bridge Church on Stockdale Highway. The booths are open now through Saturday. You can visit our website at kget.com for more information. One of downtown Bakersfield's liveliest areas before the pandemic is getting ready to welcome back customers this morning. The section of I Street between 19th and the alley, a half block north, will become an outdoor dining plaza starting today. Chef's Choice Noodle Bar, Gin Sushi, and Sandrini's Public House will serve customers under specially appointed canopies. Restaurant owners hope this will help alleviate the financial strain they've been under since lockdown started.
And then we only have a table outdoor so far, but sometimes, weekends we have a 30-minute, 1 hour because we lost a lot of table.
The I Street Alfresco Plaza, like the outdoor dining area in the nearby Wall Street alley, will be open for business indefinitely, but temporarily, at least as far as we know. The Bakersfield City Council has canceled the $86 application fee for outdoor dining permits. Refunds for those who've already paid are available by request to the city treasurer's office. 5:19 your time now, making news in the world of sports. A woman's in custody after allegedly trying to kidnap the grandchild of NFL legend Joe Montana. According to a statement from the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, a woman identified as Sodsai Dizelle entered Montana's Malibu home around 5 p.m. Saturday and took the 9-month-old from the living room. Dizelle was confronted by Montana and his wife, Jennifer, who were able to take the child back during a tussle. Dizelle then allegedly fled to a nearby home. Deputies in the area were flagged down by Montana and the woman was arrested. No one was hurt during the altercation. The French Open tennis tournament got underway yesterday in Paris after a 4-month delay due to the coronavirus pandemic. As infections soar across France, top stars at the sport, including Serena Williams, will play in front of just 1,000 spectators a day.
Usually end my season after the Open, but this time around I'm here at Roland Garros. That's the only difference. It's always cold for me.
Serena Williams acknowledging the colder than normal weather for the Open with a dreary, rainy start for the tournament that was supposed to happen in late May, early June. This amid a massive surge in new COVID-19 cases in France and elsewhere across Europe. French authorities are limiting the number of spectators to 1,000 a day.
Now to NASCAR with Bakersfield's own Kevin Harvick holding on to first place in the Cup Series playoffs after finishing 10th at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Kurt Busch took home his first win at his hometown of Las Vegas after leading for just 29 of the 268 laps in last night's race. The win gave Busch an automatic berth into the postseason's round of 8. Harvick will return to the track at Talladega Speedway for the Yellowwood 500 on Sunday. And the Denver Broncos played host this weekend to quite the crowd, a bunch of humble folks without temptation, if you will. That's right, the town of South Park filled the stands at yesterday's matchup against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This year's season has forced teams to get creative when filling the stands, as many stadiums are either devoid of fans or only allowed a small amount. Unfortunately for the Broncos, these friendly faces everywhere weren't able to push them to a win. Tampa Bay took it 28-10.
KGET Business Watch is brought to you by Grapevine MSP Technology Services, the Valley's leading IT service provider.
5:24 is your time now. President Trump's executive order to ban popular social media app TikTok is facing a major legal hurdle. Federal Judge Carl Nichols delayed Trump's order after an emergency hearing yesterday morning. During the meeting, lawyers for TikTok argued that the administration's App Store ban would infringe on the company's First Amendment rights. Earlier this year, Trump declared TikTok a national security threat due to concerns over data collection, saying the app must hand over its U.S. operations or shut down in the country. TikTok is scrambling to strike a deal with U.S. tech giant Oracle that would see Walmart act as a business partner. In the meantime, TikTok's fighting to keep the app available in the U.S. Beachfront or Mountain View, working from home has opened up options for an office with a view. NBC's Dan Sheneman has the story.
Since the COVID outbreak, millions of Americans are now working from home, while some are working away from home.
I've kind of perfected the remote working the last 2 years.
Lindsay Myers and her husband like to rent their home in Charleston while they travel the world.
Come on in. It's not my crib. Borrowed.
Most recently, a 2-month stint in Tulum, Mexico.
I mean, we did it in Bali for a couple months. We've done Scotland and Ireland. We did Belgium.
She is not the only one working remotely, and the hospitality industry has noticed.
Hotels in particular are really offering a lot of incentives to help people get out and get to their properties.
Those incentives include day rates, discounts for extended stays, and a helping hand.
We're seeing work and play packages that include things like business butlers that will help you set up that workspace, whether it be in the lobby or in a cabana by the pool.
A handful of countries are even offering visa programs catering to remote workers.
I usually kind of go on low seasons to places because I want to, get into the culture, immerse myself, and it's not so busy with tourists.
But employees who want to work remotely need to remember, time zones can be a challenge.
I was getting up in the middle of the night sometimes to do things, but hey, I was in Bali. So it's just all about good internet, your work ethic. If you stay on it, literally no one knows where you are and you can be in paradise.
The ideal way to mix business and pleasure. Dan Sheneman, NBC News.
17 News is your local election headquarters, and we're closely watching 2 developing stories out of Washington this morning. President Trump's Supreme Court nominee is about to make her first trip to Capitol Hill And details from more than a decade of the president's tax returns goes public. Tracy Potts has more in Washington.
A New York Times examination of more than 2 decades of President Trump's personal and business tax returns reveals he paid no federal income tax for 10 out of 15 years and just $750 the year he won the election and the year after.
It's fake news. It's totally fake news. Made up, fake.
The Times report found the president reported losing millions more than he earned, with $300 million in loans due soon. Joe Biden's campaign is already out with this web ad. In a statement, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi accuses the president of abusing the tax code. The tax revelation comes as his Supreme Court nominee, Amy Coney Barrett, prepares to meet lawmakers on Capitol Hill tomorrow, her first appearance before a confirmation hearing in 2 weeks.
One of the reasons he's putting Coney Barrett on the court is to get rid of America's health care, to get rid of the ACA. That should not stand.
There are lots of reasons for her to go on the court. I'm eager to vote for her.
The Supreme Court, one of the topics in tomorrow night's first presidential debate.
Joe Biden has a chance to just lay his truth, his spirit, his character in front of the American people.
President Trump told reporters he's not doing a lot of debate prep because he's too busy running the country. The president talked about that at a news conference where he railed against Joe Biden and Democrats and again mail ballots, claiming we won't have a result of the presidential election on November 3rd. Tracy Potts, NBC News, Washington.
And the president mentioned Bakersfield Congressman Kevin McCarthy during his address yesterday, saying the House Minority Leader will help take back the House in November.
I think we're going to take back the House. I believe that very strongly. Kevin is doing a fantastic job. And I really believe we're going to take back the House, and we're all working very hard on that.
The House currently has a Democratic majority, with Democrats currently taking 232 seats. The Republicans hold 198. To win a majority, Republicans would need to net a net gain of 20 seats.
Here at home, police continue to look for a hit-and-run driver who left a woman seriously injured in central Bakersfield. BPD says the woman was hit Saturday on California Avenue and S Street, not far from Maya Cinemas. She was taken to the hospital with major injuries. The photographer at the scene told us this was not related to the protests happening just a few blocks away. Police did not provide a description of the suspect's car.
Now to the latest on the coronavirus crisis here in Kern County, as public health officials announced 47 new cases and no new deaths yesterday. That brings our total case number to more than 32,000 here in Kern. More than 11,000 are recovering from the virus at home, while 98 people are in the hospital. We haven't seen a number that low since mid-June. 369 lives have been lost to this virus since the beginning of the pandemic. 28 people have died this month alone. 137 people died last month. And this as public health officials continue to urge people to get tested in order to help the county reopen more quickly. Kern County is currently assigned to the purple tier, where the COVID-19 virus is considered widespread. Officials say increased testing not only slows the spread of COVID-19, but helps move the county into a less restrictive tier. This allows more businesses, as well as schools and places of worship, to reopen indoors. You're urged to continue to practice healthy habits such as hand washing, physical distancing, and to continue to wear a face mask while in public. And you can get a free COVID-19 test right outside our station. KGET is teaming up with the Kern County Public Health Department as well as the Latino COVID-19 Task Force to host another testing drive. It's happening Wednesday from 7 a.m. until 6 p.m. outside our station at the corner of 22nd and L Streets in downtown Bakersfield. Pre-registration is required, but a limited amount of walk-ups will be accepted. And even beyond that testing site, there are 9 places throughout the county that you can go to. You can schedule an appointment by simply calling 211, or you can go to kerncounty.com. You can also make an account on the website doineedacovid19test.com to find a testing site and schedule a date. If you've already signed up for a COVID test on that website, it's even easier to make an appointment or see your results from previous tests.
Another incentive to get tested, free tickets to stadium events at Mechanics Bank Arena next year. Kern Public Health has teamed up with the arena and the Bakersfield Condors to offer a chance to win those free tickets. Here's how it works. You go get your COVID-19 test, then enter your name in the drawing at bakersfieldcondors.com/COVID-19. One lucky winner will get 2 tickets for every single event at the Mechanics Bank Arena in 2021. You can enter once every time you get a test. Starting today, Bakersfield College is opening another week-long public health course on infectious disease contact tracing. Students can earn 1 credit for the course, but it's not necessary to be a Bakersfield College student to take the course. All community members are welcome to enroll. To learn more, you can enroll today by visiting bakersfieldcollege.edu.
Welcome back to your 17 Health Watch. New research suggests more women are turning to marijuana to get through menopause. In the study of 230 women, more than half said they struggled with hot flashes, insomnia, or other bothersome symptoms. About a quarter of those women said they were currently using marijuana to manage those symptoms. Another 10% said they would consider trying the drug. 1 in 3 parents in the U.S. plans to skip the flu shot for their kids this year. That's according to a new University of Michigan poll out this morning. The most common reason for choosing not to vaccinate are concerns about side effects or the belief that the shot is not necessary or effective. Other parents said they wanted to keep their kids away from healthcare offices because of the risk of COVID-19 exposure. Families who were least likely to get a flu vaccine for their children were those who also skipped it last year. And with the added threat of COVID-19, experts say it is extra important to get the flu shot this year, but the pandemic is having an impact on when and where to get that shot. Dr. Frank McGeorge explains.
Many people are used to getting their flu shot at work, but with so many people working from home and workplaces limiting the number of people coming in, that may not be an option this year. Flu shots are readily available at retail pharmacies, doctors' offices, and local health departments. Just call first to see if you need an appointment and plan on wearing a mask. Now, pediatricians' offices have flu shots for children, and this summer the Department of Health and Human Services also made it easier for pharmacists to vaccinate children over age 3. Now, what about the vaccine itself? There will be lots of options, including the standard vaccine, high-dose options for seniors, an egg-free vaccine, and the nasal spray. Now, new this year is a quadrivalent high-dose vaccine for adults age 65 and older. It protects against 4 strains of the flu compared to just 3 last year. Now, all of the vaccines have been updated to better match the flu viruses expected to be circulating this flu season.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.